I was 26 years old when it happened. At the time, I worked the late shift as a logistics clerk at a distribution warehouse just outside the city limits. Nothing fancy, mostly paperwork, inventory checks, and loading schedules. I wasn't the type to get into trouble. I didn't go looking for fights. Honestly, I tried to avoid people in general. I lived alone in a small two-bedroom apartment above a hardware store, about 15 minutes from work. It sat on the edge of a rougher neighborhood, but I told myself it was fine because rent was cheap and the place had a locking gate downstairs. I stuck to myself, did my job, paid my bills, and filled the rest of my life with video games and microwave dinners. The night it happened was a Wednesday in late October. Cold enough that your breath hung in the air, but not cold enough to snow. I remember that because I hesitated between my jacket and hoodie before I left the apartment. I chose the hoodie. My shift ended at 12:30 a.m. That night I clocked out later than usual because we had a delayed shipment. By the time I left, the warehouse parking lot was nearly empty. Just my car, a semi in the loading bay, and the low hum of distant highway traffic. I figured it would be another forgettable night drive home. I was wrong about that. The drive home was routine. Same cracked streets, same flickering streetlights, same closed storefronts with metal gates half rusted in place. I played a podcast quietly through one speaker, something stupid about urban myths I'd half listened to while driving. I stopped at a 24-hour gas station a few blocks from my apartment. Same clerk as always, tall guy, older with gray hair and tired eyes. "Same stuff?" he asked when I set my sandwich and energy drink on the counter. "Yeah," I said. He gave me the tired half smile of someone who had been awake too long. We made small talk about the weather. It felt normal, boring, safe. Back in my car, I ate the sandwich like I always did, one hand on the wheel, the other unwrapping greasy paper. I texted my sister something dumb about a meme she'd sent earlier, and she didn't reply. When I reached my block, every space in front of my building was taken. I circled once, swearing softly at the windshield, and finally parked on the side of the street about half a block down. That annoyed me, but only a little. I grabbed my bag, locked my car, and started walking. That was when something tiny changed. Not a big change, not anything dramatic. Just a small feeling in my chest, like the air had shifted somehow, like stepping into a room right after someone else leaves it. I ignored it. I always did. I heard footsteps behind me, not loud, not rushed, just there. I told myself it was nothing. It was a city. People walked around at night. No big deal. Still, after a few steps, I slowed down. The footsteps didn't. They matched my pace. That's when my stomach tightened. I glanced over my shoulder casually, pretending to check my phone. The street looked empty. No one, no shadows out of place, no movement. The sound stopped. I almost laughed at myself. My head had been full of podcasts and creepy stories. Of course I was jumping at nothing. I kept walking. Another 10 seconds passed. Then the footsteps came back, closer this time. Not heavy, not dragging. Careful, measured. I stopped completely. They stopped too. For about 5 seconds, I just stood there, heart drumming, staring down the empty stretch of road ahead of me. "You're being stupid," I whispered under my breath. I turned fully around. Still nothing. No one, no cars, no movement. Just the yellow streetlight buzzing above me like an insect. My skin crawled. I started walking faster. The sidewalk seemed longer than it should have. My building felt too far away. The footsteps followed, faster than me now, not running, but purposeful. I crossed the street. So did the footsteps. That was when fear became physical, hot and thick in my throat. My palms were already slick with sweat. I pulled my phone from my pocket and pretended to scroll through it, but my screen reflected something behind me. A shape, tall, standing under a streetlight, watching me walk away. I didn't turn around again. I just walked faster, not running. Running would mean admitting it was real. My building was finally in sight. Dark brick, single glowing light above the entrance. The gate. I reached the gate and fumbled for my keys. My hands felt massive and useless. The metal jingled too loud. My heart was beating in my ears. I heard a voice behind me, low, right behind my shoulder. "Don't!" I spun around and slammed my back against the gate. He was closer than I thought. Close enough that I could smell something sour on his breath. He wasn't huge, but he wasn't small either. Long arms, narrow shoulders, hoodie pulled low, face mostly shadowed. "What do you want?" I snapped, trying to sound brave. He didn't answer, just stood there watching me. My fingers curled around my keys like they were a weapon. "Please," I said quietly, every muscle tight. "I don't have anything." He took a step closer. I felt trapped between iron bars and empty sidewalk. My spine pressed into cold metal. His eyes moved over my face slowly, like he was memorizing it. "You shouldn't walk alone," he said. The way he said it wasn't concern, it was ownership. I told him to back up. My voice cracked. He smiled, not wide, thin, tight. A smile that meant he wasn't here to talk. He stepped closer. I raised my keys between us. That's when he tried to grab my collar. Everything blurred after that. Training didn't kick in. Instinct didn't feel clean or heroic. It felt ugly, animal. I slapped his hand away and drove my shoulder into his chest as hard as I could. We slammed into the gate together. He grunted, and then he laughed. He actually laughed. I tried to run past him, and he caught my hoodie. It ripped. I stumbled. We went down together on the cold pavement. His weight crushed the air out of me. Hands pinned my wrists. "You're loud," he whispered. I don't remember deciding to fight back. I just did. I jammed my keys into his face and swung blindly. He cursed and reeled back just enough for me to bring my knee up into his stomach. Air left him in a wet sound. I rolled free and scrambled to my feet, but he lunged again and grabbed my ankle. I fell hard. My head cracked against the concrete. Stars exploded in my vision. I tasted blood. He pulled himself over me again, panting. His face looked wrong up close. Too calm, too focused. "This didn't have to hurt," he said. Something snapped in me. I reached out blindly and my hand closed around a rock. I slammed it into his temple. Once, twice. He screamed. I shoved him and crawled away, kicking wildly, sobbing, scrambling for the gate. The metal scraped my hands as I got it open. I looked back once. He was on his knees, staring at me, smiling again. I don't remember running up the stairs. I don't remember unlocking my door. I just remember shaking on my kitchen floor with my back against the cabinets, phone in my hands, whispering to the operator like my voice might break if I spoke louder. The police came. They searched the block. They found blood on the sidewalk. But no man, no footage, no witnesses. They took my statement and nodded sympathetically, but I could tell by their eyes that it was already filed away as another street incident. They bandaged my head, took pictures of my hands. Then they left. I didn't sleep that night or the next. The bruise on my skull lasted weeks. The fear stayed longer. It's been 3 years. I don't walk alone anymore. I don't wear hoodies anymore. Sometimes when I'm half asleep, I still feel weight on my chest that isn't there. A few months ago, someone slid a note under my new apartment door. No name, no stamp, just one sentence written in messy ink. You ran faster than I thought.